RPG is an original TTRPG based on some of my favorite games, characters, and of course the viral insanity that is Florida. And this ain't a supplement. 6 ability scores, 10 playable species, 10 classes, 30 subclasses, 12 backgrounds, a full list of alignments, deities, feats, weapons, vehicles. Florida Man RPG will be completed using only human art and input. I've recently partnered with the fantastically talented Thatch Durbin. His role, in addition to awesome illustrations, will be bringing my Florida Man RPG vision to life. I've been cultivating a small team of creatives to put this thing together, and we're ready to get started. So why the GoFundMe? The pre-launch will provide the necessary capital used to commission the art and design for the upcoming Kickstarter campaign. It'll also cover short-term production and prep costs, assets, printing quotes, marketing. Finally, this funding will also help pay bills and keep the lights on while I devote my full time to the project. And if you do decide to donate, you get some pretty cool stuff. Your name on a special acknowledgement page in the book, early access to images and playtest materials, and my eternal gratitude. And maybe some kind of Florida blessing or something. No promises. Check out the link in the description. It's got all the information that's there. It's got that really cool original art piece by Thatch. Remember, sometimes the best stories don't happen in dungeons. They happen at the gas station. Thanks for listening and thanks for believing in the project. Let's make something completely unhinged.
Welcome in, everybody, and welcome to the 24th episode of Rogue Bard Advice. I am your host, the Pirate Archaeologist, Captain Bartholomew Bones McCoy. You may know me as the Pirate Archaeologist. You may know me as the Rogue Pirate Archaeologist. You may just simply know me as Pirate, but you also shall know me as Chris. Yes, happy Friday. And if you guys haven't figured it out, tonight's episode is dedicated and devoted to nothing but Puffy Cheeto. Thank you very much for coming back, Puffy Cheeto. We have missed you, and I had this whole thing planned and made a surprise and did all this whole thing, and you're the first one in the chat. So welcome in, and I'd like to sit there and welcome in all of our chatters: Kirk, Puffy Cheeto, Crimson Honda, the Rogue Bard wife, Pirate wife, Ron and Ruby. Jim will not be here tonight. Family is in town. Yokai is having head issues, headaches. Storms are rolling in where you guys at, so they will not be here. But Teeny is here. I saw Teeny in there. So yeah, welcome. We have quite a episode tonight. It will be a all Council of Chris episode. Now you're gonna ask, well, Pirate, if their questions are all from Amanda, if the questions are all from Puffy Cheeto, how is it an all Chris episode? Well, funny you should ask, because Puffy Cheeto is actually an honorary member of the Council of Chris. Thought I forgot. I didn't forget. I never forget. So don't worry about it. I have a whole slide for that. So you're good. But yeah. So with that being said, let's move right along, and hopefully I get this right tonight. We're gonna try and get this right. Let's go there. Oh, nope. It was not that one. It was that one. We have Archaeology Corner tonight. And this, again, is Vada Volanterana. This is their day 9 of their 15-day, 3-week excavation dig stuff. They dug more of what we dug up 3 years ago, 2021. Found more of the wall section, found more pottery. They're actually finding more artifacts at this layer than what we did during our layer. But they're finding more pottery shards. They're finding more amphora pieces. They're yes, I know you exist, and you. I want to say Kevin, because I don't know how to pronounce T-L-E-T-N-A. Teletna. I know you exist. Hello. All the technical effects, please. Look, Crimson Honda, you will get them all tonight. I fixed things. So, yes, it's Kevion. Kevin. Okay. Kevin. Got it. Bacon. I have a prop for bacon. As soon as we go back to here, I want to go back to here for a minute. I have a prop for bacon. Nope. We go this way. It is cream of bacon soup. I got 2 cans. Back to Archaeology Corner. So they're finding this is a typical day on a dig site. You find artifacts. You wash the artifacts. You wash the artifacts with water and a small, soft bristled brush, kind of like a toothbrush. But these artifacts are all made of clay, and they're sometimes fired clay, sometimes not. But they're almost 4,000 years old. So, yeah, they're very, very fragile, so to speak. Yes, soup. Your soup. I can't do live fireworks in the apartment. As you can tell, I am in the pirate ship, but I don't have fireworks, so I didn't get fireworks for the 4th of July. The pirate wench wife would not appreciate if pirate came home with less than 10 fingers. So, moving right along, now we're going into Art Corner. However, it's not Art Corner tonight. It is a special message, and it comes from me. I am proud to reintroduce to you the world and the rogue Bardadians. Puffy Cheeto is back. She messaged me earlier this week with an email, and in her email she lists a whole bunch of questions. And then I got on the texty text with her and was like, so based on your email, are you coming back this week? And she's like, yes, I will try. Now, I wish we had a camera, and I wish I had updated this after I saw this, but Puffy Cheeto has a new tattoo, and it looks phenomenal. Phenomenal. Puffy Cheeto, take it away. Do you want to tell everybody in the chat what your new tattoo is about? We will wait. I don't have the Jeopardy theme music, but I can sit here and talk. She will post it under Discord. There you go, everybody. Puffy Cheetah will post her new tattoo photos on the Discord. Moving right along after that, then. No, want that one. Hey, pirate. This is the message I got. Hey, pirate, I know it's been a hot minute since I've been around, but I've got a list of questions that you could use for the podcast. Hope you have fun with some of these and can't wait to see what you and chat answer with. Puffy Cheeto, Amanda. Well, thank you for that very heartfelt message, Amanda. Yes, I know those two statements were before and after your questions. I just felt that it fit better this way. So, but yeah. What questions since Puffy Cheeto's been gone? It's been, what, 3 or 4 months since the last time we saw Puffy Cheeto? I wonder what questions Puffy Cheeto has to ask. Well, wonder no more, because her first question is this. If you were a DM creating a zombie horde for your players to run into in a campaign, what type of zombies would you create? World War Z, Walking Dead, Shaun of the Dead, etc. Well, thank you for that question, Amanda. And I want to see, I think it's that one. Oh, it's there. Yes. I want to thank you for that question, Amanda. Now, I know I have the little small thingy up there, but this one has to go to right here. Because I don't really do zombie movies or zombie D&D campaigns. However, for you, my favorite zombie genre of zombies you didn't even list there, and it hurt me. It cut me deeply. Because I went to see Resident Evil in the theater, the first Resident Evil, before they got all the zombies. So, yeah. So, Resident Evil. I would base an entire campaign on a medieval style Resident Evil. Or there's another one that I like. Did you know, and it's part of Legends now, it's not even canon anymore. I don't think it was canon to begin with. It could have been. But did you know that there was a group of stormtrooper zombies in the Star Wars universe? Yeah. So I would create something like that. I definitely would also try and revolve it around the Evil Dead. I think that would be a phenomenal style campaign to play. Instead of hordes of skeleton monsters, you have hordes of zombies chasing a group of people in the woods who have read a Dark Wizard's Necronomicon. Yeah. You could choose it, other movie, TV show type zombies. I would want some type of slow zombie. I'm too fat to run away from anything. So no World War Z ones. Well, that is why I live on a pirate ship. Because zombies can't swim. And if you live on a pirate ship and you get onto a small desert island, the only way the zombies can get to you is by boat. And by the time you see the boat coming over the horizon, you can get in your boat and you can go away. Now, I know that Davy Jones had undead creatures, and I know that Barbossa had undead sailors, but they were only cursed. They really weren't zombies. They didn't go after brains. So, can't really consider them zombies. So, with that being said, I hope you got an answer out of that. I hope it was a good one. And I hope chat can sound off with what zombies they would like to see in a D&D campaign if they themselves were a DM running a zombie horde game. Sea turtles, Teeny. Sea turtles. That's it right there. The whole answer to that question is sea turtles. The question is, why can't zombies walk underwater? They can't breathe. Just because they're zombies doesn't mean they can't. That doesn't mean they fall apart. They're zombies. They're like they almost have leprosy, except it's leprosy of. And besides, you got all that fleshy goodness just chunking off and bleeding and stuff. You're gonna attract sharks. And no, sharks can't become zombies by biting a zombie. The zombie has to bite the shark. And have you ever tried to bite a shark? They've got teeth. They've got teeth bigger than some people. Anyway, moving right along. Moving on to what was supposed to be the first question. I hit the wrong button, but it worked anyway. The next question that Amanda asks is this. I am a hardcore DC girl. And with the release of the newest Superman movie, IMO, the worst one ever made, even Dean Cain was better. No, you cannot change my mind. I was pissed when I left the theater. Which actor has played your favorite Superman, Batman, and Joker? I'm going to keep it the tiny for this. So, Superman, Batman, and Joker. Let's start with the obvious. There's only one Joker, and that happens to be Jack Nicholson. Second favorite Joker, Heath Ledger. Jared Leto Joker is not even on the list. You can kick his behind the freaking dumpster fire that his Joker was. Third on the list is Cesar Romero. Cesar Romero, by far, third on the list for Jokers. Fun fact. Cesar Romero did not shave his mustache. He would not shave his mustache. So when they put the makeup on, when they put the white face paint on, they painted his mustache white. That's why the 1960s Joker has a mustache. Mark Hamill. So for voice acting, yes, Yokai. Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, for voice acting work alone, on top, absolutely. Christian Bale, great Batman. He comes in second for me. And that's only because I grew up on the one, the only 1988 Batman. Somebody in the chat's going to know who it is. I had it, and then I lost it. But we'll come back to my list of Batman. But for Superman, you got Adam West. Look, Adam West. The suit was all Adam West. They didn't have, according to Adam West, they didn't have padded suits. They didn't have muscles. Michael Keaton, they didn't have latex. It was all Adam West's suit. But yeah, no, Adam West is a good third. Only because of the campy style, Kirk. Only because of the campy style. I was thinking of Michael Keaton. Thank you, Puffy Cheeto. I was. But for Superman, I'm sorry. I have to go with the GOAT. I have to. Had he not gotten into... Okay. I actually am torn on this because are we talking young Superman or are we talking older Superman? Because Tom Welling, phenomenal as Superman in Smallville, as Clark Kent in Smallville. Christopher Reeve, all-time GOAT Superman. You can't hold a candle. I'm sorry. Henry Cavill, great actor. Not taking anything away from him. He did good in the movies that he was in. But Christopher Reeve and Tom Welling tied for one and two, or tied for first in that. So, We're not talking about Robin, Puffy Cheeto. There is only one Robin that is any good. Second is Burt Ward, but the one Robin that is any good, that is any decent, is what's his God? I am having a blank for names today. Wife, pirate wife, who played Callan in NCIS LA? I know it's a Chris something, and he's a Chris. Dean Cain was good. I did like Lois and Clark. Chris O'Donnell. Yes, Chris O'Donnell. By far the best Robin of the movie series of Batman and Robins. By far, hands down. Yes, him. He was Robin in Batman and Robin. He was also Robin in the one before they added Alicia Silverstone. Because Alicia Silverstone played Batgirl. But yeah, no, absolutely. So there's my answer for you, Puffy. I hope you learn something about me, nuances about me. I'm a stickler for the old stuff. Moving right along, we only have 5 questions tonight, ladies and gentlemen. However, I do believe, now somebody fact check me, but I do believe in 24 episodes, this next question has got to be our first or second 2-slide question. Let's get to it. I just finished watching The Last of Us. I've never played the game or knew any lore before watching. I watched some behind the scenes stuffs. And it brought up a good question. If you were in Joel's place and your child was immune to the disease and could save mankind, but it would have to die for them to make the cure, would you sacrifice your only child to save all mankind, or would you just let the world try and survive on their own and keep your child alive and safe? Why do you hate me, Amanda? What did I do? I have not seen The Last of Us. I don't know what Joel's place is. And I don't know what disease you are talking about. But it's another zombie question, isn't it? I would absolutely let the child die. If the child could save mankind, I would absolutely let the child die. Not saying I'm a heartless monster. The good of the good of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So that's the way I look at it. If Kirk can die to save Spock and the Enterprise, if Spock can die to save Kirk and the Enterprise, my child can die to save the rest of the world. And if my child is immune, wouldn't that make me immune? Wouldn't I sacrifice myself if I found out that I was the one immune? Probably. He was in the 93 Three Musketeers as D'Artagnan, and I loved that movie because that movie has one of my favorite, I'm going to curse on here, but it's PG, has one of my favorite fat-ass actors in it, Gerard Depardieu. So, even with being a parent with kids of my own, I say screw people, and my kid is living. Well, you writing this question, Puffy Cheeto, it sounded like to me you were a little irritated with one of the kids, and you were like, would you let the world try to survive our own and keep your child safe, or would you kill your kid? Because that's how I read this. So, now you guys have your own answers and opinions, but if my child is an asshole, the world's saving. I'm saving the world. I guess it depends on the kid. Because if the kid's an asshole, yeah, exactly. Which kid has the cure? If it's my favorite kid, nah. If it's the one I could make another one of, eh. Yeah, but you Puffy Cheeto, I'm reading your comment again. You kids of your own, you have multiple of them. You have spares. Pick your favorite one and keep them safe. But you can't tell your kids which one's the favorite. You can tell I don't have any kids, right? Oh, it'd definitely be Jay. No, Jay's staying. It'd definitely be Junior. That is a question for another day, Teeny. We don't have time to go into that one. At least, look. That question can be taken two different ways. Have you seen Mankind? I have actually met Mankind. He's a very nice gentleman. He thinks it's Christmas all year long. If you get the reference, pop up a WWE in the chat. Oh. No, not all humans are horrible. Just the majority of the people, some here. Yeah. Anyway, Puffy Cheeto, Amanda, I love the question. Thank you for the question. I really do hope you got something out of it. And it will, this question will pop up again somewhere, maybe the Discord. We'll get people talking about it. Would you keep your would you keep your child alive, or would you save mankind? So, moving right along, I believe it is this one. It is this one. Now you're getting into some conspiracy theory stuff, and I love it. It's pseudoscience, and we like to disprove pseudoscience. We also like to cite our sources, though I don't have any. I don't have any at the moment. I always have sources. I'll let the kid decide when they're old. When they're old enough to decide. Nice, Ron. Nice. So, with Antarctica being a continent that no one is allowed to colonize, but multiple countries have research bases on, what secrets do you think are hidden there away from the public? I know you love a good conspiracy theory, and if Archeo Wolf was in here, I would say they're hiding the Stargate. Teeny gets that. They're hiding the Stargate down in Antarctica. But I did pull up some conspiracy theories of what secrets may be lost down there, or what governments are hiding from the people. For a little background context, I'd like to go in and tell you what is beneath Antarctica first. All right, there's up to 4 kilometers worth of ice 4 kilometers thick worth of ice that is on Antarctica. Lakes like Lake Vostok and Willens have been isolated for millions of years. There's actually lakes that are underneath that ice. Researchers hunt for unique microbes that survive extreme cold, pressures, and darkness, clues to life's adaptability. Subglacial volcanoes may lie dormant or active, melting the ice from below. Geothermal heat, carved channels under the ice, influencing glacial movement and stability. Antarctica's ice sheets concentrate meteorites, offering pristine space rock samples. The ice cores that are drilled out of Antarctica preserve atmospheric records and volcanic ash layers dating back hundreds of millennia. So basically, the ice that is covering Antarctica is a time capsule. And it proves that the Earth is older than what some people say it is. Donut Earth, I'm in on that one. Is it cream-filled donut Earth, Kirk? And if it is it Boston or banana cream filled? That is the question. No portals to the center of the Earth. Stargate is a portal within a portal to a different universe. Anyway, so yes, donuts all around. I like donuts. I do, but I'm not eating donuts right now. I am taking a break on food and eating. I got a new medication that's supposed to be coming, and the doc wants me on a lower calorie diet than what I have been. I like Boston. Ron Cthulhu, you have no idea. Stick around for the end of the show tonight, sir. I think you will highly be impressed. So, yeah, now the speculative theories and conspiracies that fuel what is hidden beneath Antarctica's ice. Lost civilizations. If you believe in Graham Hancock and his mother civilization, there could be fringe accounts of lost civilizations underneath Antarctica. Atlantis. Whatever conspiracy you believe could be down underneath Antarctica. We could be hiding it. Definitely not, but we could be. Flood cities or Atlantean outposts buried underneath the ice. Although there's no credible evidence, these ideas inspire pulp adventures and speculative fiction. And pseudoscience just to get your money, people. Don't fall for it. Graham Hancock does not need your money. Wartime hideouts. Would you believe me if I told you that some rumors claim that the Nazis have U-boats and they established secret bases during World War II in Antarctica? Official archives show limited activity, but the myth of icebound bunkers still persists. And then, of course, this is where my good friend ArchaeoWolf would absolutely chime in. Extraterrestrial gateways, the Stargate, satellite anomalies spark talk of UFO bases or portals beneath the sheet of ice. Despite no verifiable proof, the notion thrives in sci-fi and conspiracy circles. Yay! Why secrecy persists, and this is the reason why the secrecy still persists, and why people don't trust people who have secrets. Nazis supposedly made it there, and there are still Nazi stuff there. We know Nazis made it to Argentina, and there's Nazi stuff there in Argentina. But who knows? Maybe. Boston, though. Oh, wait a minute. You said Boston twice. Boston. I love Boston cream. I love the aliens and Nazis theories. Those documentaries are always the craziest. Y'all realize I'm married to this man? They don't care. The Nazis are 20,000 leagues under the sea. Wait a minute. I loved, if we're going to talk about old movies, okay, I loved, what was it? Was it the help me out, graybeards of the D&D channel? Was it the 60s, late 50s, early 60s that the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was made by Disney? I know because I used to watch it, but I don't know the year because I'm not that aged. I am not that refined. Let's put it that way. I watched it in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. But I do believe that that movie actually sparked a lot of my interest in what I do. Looking back upon it, it was very, very cool. I think it was the 60s. I think it was the mid 60s, Kirk. It's along the same lines as Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. 1954. Wow. Wow. That's along the same lines as Mary Martin's Peter Pan. I just watched something on that the other day. Not a lot of people gonna know about Mary Martin's Peter Pan, I guarantee it that. Well, I at least some people in the chat will. But why does the secrecy persist? Because the Antarctic Treaty restricts drilling, excavation, and military operations. There's an actual treaty called the Antarctic Treaty, which is what Puffy Cheeto was alluding to, that no nation in the world can lay claim to the entirety that is Antarctica. Antarctica is for the world. It is not for a single country. So, I love Jules Verne too, Yokai. I absolutely do. Absolutely. Journey to the Center there, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, all of it. I mean, Back to the Future, all of it. And if you get that reference, put a Christopher Lloyd in the chat, because that was a deep cut. Jules Verne and Back to the Future. That was a deep cut. Okay? All research, the second reason secrecy persists is all research requires environmental impact assessments, EEAs, or EIAs, and multinational approval. Now, EIAs are part of something that I do. I don't actually conduct the environmental impact assessments, but it's something that I have to take into account when I am looking at something that is of historic nature, or looking at something that's happening in a certain area, or if the proposed action is going to adversely affect the surrounding environment. It's something that I have to take into. So they are extremely detailed environmental impact statements and surveys, and they go through like 4 or 5 different governmental agencies. It's all part of NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Act, NEPA. So yeah, it's they're, and they cost, EIAs cost a bunch of money. Not as much as EIS is, which are the environmental impact statements, but the environmental impact assessments cost quite a lot of money to do. And then limited access and slow data sharing create an aura of mystery, even when projects are purely scientific. That's because everybody hoards onto their data. Nobody likes to share it, because in the scientific community, if you share data with somebody and you don't. It's a race to publish, basically. If you share data with somebody and they publish first, their name goes on the discovery, not yours, regardless if you've discovered it first. So that is why so much of the scientific community is so secret about what they do. They don't want somebody stealing their limelight. They don't want somebody stealing their recognition. So, a butt ton of money, yes. A literal butt ton of money. Like you could do for instance, you could do a pedestrian survey. What I do, survey, walk around the acre, 2 acres, 456 acres of land, and do an overview and just look for surface finds, and that might cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to do. Then you have a pedestrian survey with slight ground disturbance, and the ground disturbance would be digging a shovel test pit every 30 meters or so, 30 centimeters deep or 60 centimeters deep or 80 centimeters deep by like 30 centimeters around, to get a soil profile and look for evidence of human habitation in that area, whether it's with glass or other artifacts or whatnot, and that would cost you in the neighborhood of $100,000 to $200,000. An EIA, $1 million to $5 million just to do an EIA. An EIS, $3 to $7 million to do an EIS. So when I say a boatload of money, it's a boatload of money. Everyone building research facilities wanting to get that sweet, sweet oil below the second they are allowed to drill. Probably. Even if they don't care about the glory, they still don't want someone stealing the credit because they need grants, etc. Yes, that is that. First to publish, first to get the grant for it. That's the thing. And unfortunately, we are losing the ability to go for grants here in the United States. So all the grant research money is going to be going to other countries, not our grant research money. Our grant research money is going to something else. No, or rather not going to other countries, but coming from other countries. So if you're in my field, it might behoove you to try and get a job overseas as a historic archaeologist or as a anthropologist or as a forester. Just saying. And all the paperwork, if you disturb the alien life forms growing around the crashed spaceship, just not worth it. You know, Kirk, you might be onto something. However, what is it? God, I am a blank for names and titles of things tonight. All right, Chad, you guys have to help me out again. Kid gets movie plot goes like this. Kid is running around the woods with his little brother, slips, falls, hits his head, passes out for 30 years. When he wakes up, he's still the same age, but his family is older. You know what? I got it. I didn't need Chat's help, but thank you, Chat, if you were trying to help. Based on that small description, Kirk, I don't even think the Navigator's crashed spaceship would prove anything. Deep cut. Tonight's all about the deep cuts, people. All about the deep cuts. Flight of the Navigator, one of my favorite movies, another one of my favorite movies growing up. Flight of the Navigator. Oh my God, that movie was so freaky and weird. And if you liked E.T., you liked Flight of the Navigator. I'm sorry, that's just... We're always moving. We're moving to a pirate ship. Pack up the house, come to Florida. We're moving on to a pirate ship. You were going to guess Navigator? See? Look, it's Deep Cut Night. I should have named this thing Deep Cuts. But no, it's Return of the Puffy Cheeto. Well, Amanda, I am pleased with this question. I loved answering this question, and I hoped you got something out of it. Just know that all conspiracy theories, while may have a sliver of truth to them, a lot of them are blown out of proportion, and a lot of them are dealing in pseudoscience just to get your money, just so you could buy their book. Don't give Graham Hancock your money. Discovery Channel used to have good things on, good history stuff. Now it's all devoted to ancient aliens and yeah, if you want any more of this information, you got to go find ArchaeoWolf on the TikTok app, or on the Threads, or on the Instagram. And he's a good friend of mine, and I will let him lecture on the world of pseudoscience. But for now, we are moving right along, because we have this, I think. Let's see. Going back one. Nope, we have one more question from Amanda before we get to the last one. The last question Amanda had for me is, if I was building a character based on my favorite actor, what would their class, race, and stats be? And who would you base it on? What type of backstory would you make for them? And would it be based on a role they have performed? I'd like to say this. I have many, many favorite actors. But the most my most favorite actor has played a cop, a criminal, multiple criminals, a doctor, a linguist, the President of the United States, a smuggler, and an archaeologist. My favorite actor is Harrison Ford, by far. Out of all the actors on the list that I consider a favorite actor. Now, I was describing all of that, and guess what? James Spader also meets all of that, though James Spader was also a lawyer, and he's like second. But Harrison Ford, maybe James Spader, and I'm glad you asked this question because I actually did. All right? Now, I didn't make it on Harrison Ford, but I did make it on one of James Spader's characters. I created a D&D character for an upcoming D&D campaign, based on Raymond Reddington from The Blacklist, one of James Spader's most iconic roles. Though I did like him in the original Stargate. But yeah, I created a rogue criminal mastermind thief, Raymond Reddington, for D&D. So, and I gave him I made the backstory fit Faerun. So everything in his backstory, he was a Harper. He betrayed the Harper and went with the group that fights against the Harpers. Betrayed them against the Harpers. I mean, he had everything. He acquired a ship called the Crimson Mist. He has contacts all throughout Faerun and Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, you name it. He's got a contact there. He's the criminal concierge of he's the concierge of the criminal underworld. He really is, and I am so excited to play him. Though I built him as a 5th level character for the Norse Forge Gathering that I went to in May. The upcoming D&D campaign that I'm going to be playing in, I had to drop him down to a level 3 character, so his backstory kind of got truncated. So while he's not the criminal mastermind that I created him to be, he does have one alternate ego, or not alternate ego, but one alternate persona. He's starting to build his reputation as a mastermind criminal in the world, and his whole goal is to take the criminal underworld from the guy who is currently holding it, and that guy's name is called the Butcher. So, Bruce Campbell, a very old Superman, when age is getting the better of him. Think of the dark, gritty Batman, but it's Superman and played for laughs. Oh, yes! I like it! Because, guess what, Kirk? I have a theory about Bruce Campbell, and it holds weight. Bruce Campbell is the glue that keeps a TV series together. But he himself cannot be the lead role in the TV series. For instance, The Legend of Briscoe County, or The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. Bruce Campbell was Briscoe County Jr. Thing lasted a season. Burn Notice. Bruce Campbell is a secondary character. Burn Notice lasts for what? 6, 7 seasons? Just saying. Bruce Campbell, great actor, far underrated, cannot carry a series on his own. Yes, the Crimson Mist. I came up with that. Have you left, Puffy Cheeto? You're already saying great show. We're not done yet. We go until we end. I did not realize it was an hour already. Yeah, Bruce Campbell as an actor. Look, Evil Dead, by far, he can hold himself in a movie. Like the movies that he creates, while they may bomb in the theaters, they turn into cult classics. Why? Because it's Bruce freaking Campbell. He did, and that's what I was saying, Kevin. He did carry Evil Dead, but he only carries Evil Dead through it being a cult classic. It bombed in the theaters. Oh, Briscoe County Jr. or Burn Notice? If you haven't seen Briscoe County Jr., it was a sci-fi western took place in what, 19, late 1800s, early 1900s, out west, and it was a lot of sci-fi. So Blacklist, I'm rewatching Blacklist. I'm on season 4. So, but yeah, no, that's James Spader, who I built a D&D character on. If I could build a character on Harrison, I absolutely would, and his wife would have to be involved in that too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Harrison wound up marrying Callista Flockhart, but good for him. Anyway, we have got, you know what? We're going to bypass that question, because that question actually wasn't really a question. It was more of a discussion talking point. So, unless you guys want to, do you guys want to talk? Do you guys want to talk the discussion talking point? Because it ties in to this question right here. Ties into how well you use your backstory, or how to use a backstory to its fullest or minimist. Let's just do it. Using your backstory to its fullest or minimum. As a player, how do you use? Don't skip nothing. Okay, we're going on. We're going on. As a player, how do you use your backstory as a min-max? What crafted backstory anchors your character to the game world, drives your personal stakes, and fuels dramatic moments? Whether you lean into every twist or turn, or only draw on a few key points, understanding both ends of the spectrum helps you and your group strike the right balance. This is what I get. This is what I'm talking about when I say I like playing a heavy RP type game. While I like the Steven Jackson style of play, kick down the door, fight the monster, loot the treasure, sometimes you have to drive the story with backstory. Drive the story with RP. Exactly, Crimson Honda. Backstory is everything, but it's not always min-max. It's just the story. Now, these are ways you can use your backstory to the fullest extent, and some ways you might want to use your backstory to its minimist. Like, for instance, my character that I'm playing for my D&D game has this long, massive backstory, right? And his name is, I actually have him here. Give me a second. Documents. His name is Carrion Colbereth, and that literally translates into Raymond of the Red or something like that. But he's also got a, you know what? I'll pull it up here. I'll pull it up from D&D Beyond, because that's where we are playing. My characters. No, I'm sorry. His name is Colbereth Carnian, and it translates into Raymond of the Red. But with my backstory, with his backstory, the party only is going to know me as Dr. Adrian Blackwood, a master of historic artifacts, a purveyor of fine goods and fine magical items, kind of thing. They're not going to know me as Colberth Carnion until I want them to. Now there is one other person who is playing with us who knows exactly who I am, because I physically told him, this is my backstory. You're the only one. You're the only one in the party who's going to know the true me, who I truly am. So it kind of works in that aspect. So, but the whole rest of the party is going to know Adrian Blackwood. They're going to know his backstory, stuff like that. And that's the hook and the threads. There's 3 to 5 story threads of my past, my family ties, my rivalries, secret oaths, that I will let the group in on for Dr. Blackwood. It may or may not be the same with Colberth. And you share these hooks with the GM in session 0, and they could weave them in through NPCs, rumors, side quests around them. The DM is your oyster. If you don't have some sort of backstory, why are you playing D&D? Exactly. Well, that's the Steven Jackson style of play, Crimson. That's where you get into, and Teeny's going to love this, that's where you get into Munchkin. Okay? That's where you get into Munchkin. Kick down the door, fight the monster, loot the treasure. Kick down the door, fight the monster, loot the treasure. That's it. It's a hack and slash game. Is Adrian Blackwood's background real or totally made up? So Adrian Blackwood is you've seen The Blacklist, Kevin, right? Every persona Raymond Reddington takes on is a real, true persona. He uses that persona when he goes and he talks to people who he's met as that person. So in that aspect, Dr. Adrian Blackwood is a secondary persona to Colberth Carnion. And when he meets people, that is who he meets. Like, he was a senior professor at a college. He actually worked there. He's a purveyor of artifacts. He's a archaeologist, but he goes and he finds magic artifacts. But he's also a thief. He's also a rogue. So when he's going out to find these artifacts, he's actually going out to steal them. But he's doing it under the guise that he is trying to find them and preserve them. So while it's half-truths and everything, that's kind of one of my character's quirks. One of my character quirks is that my character lies about everything, whether he needs to lie about it or not. So, hey, Adrian. Okay. Yes, but so you could start as Wesley Stableboy and secretly you are the Dread Pirate Roberts. Absolutely, positively. Or you could start as Dread Pirate Roberts and secretly be Wesley. Who knows? You can turn past traumas into triumphs, into role-playing triggers. A town guard who reminds you of a fallen mentor, or a festival that echoes childhood celebrations. You leverage these moments to reveal your personality traits: pride, fear, overconfidence, compassion. They help with mechanical and narrative advancements. You leak your character's growth milestones to story beats. For example, earning a new skill only after confronting the source of a childhood fear, i.e., Batman took on the mantle of the Bat because he faced his childhood fears of getting surrounded by bats when he fell into the well, or when he went into a bat cave and got lost in the caves. He feared bats, so he made sure that everybody else would fear the Bat. Use downtime between sessions to resolve smaller threads, reconnecting a long-lost sibling or finishing a family heirloom. You arrange short flashback scenes that you can talk to the DM about arranging a short flashback scene where other players portray figures from your past, spotlighting crucial moments, forging the bonds between the PCs. Yeah, that's kind of hard to do, but why can't you start at a higher level based on your backstory? Well, that's because that's not the way the game that this guy is running it. Everybody agreed to start off as a level 3 player. Not telling your entire backstory in the beginning of the game is crucial to winning the game. Yes, but D&D, there is no one winner. Everybody wins in D&D, dear. It's not a game like Monopoly. There cannot only be one. Though, unless you were playing a Highlander D&D game, then, yeah, I guess you could assume there could only be one. But outside of being in a Highlander-style D&D game, telling your backstory in the beginning, while is crucial, telling your entire backstory in the beginning of the game, while not crucial to winning, leads to more roleplay opportunities throughout the game. Level 3 character, Kevin. All right, Ricky Bobby. No, all the other players hate you, Kirk, because you haven't painted your minis. And there's a gray blob on half the side of the map while everybody else's minis are painted nice and purty. Kidding. Not really. That's the first paint your minis, Kirk, this entire episode, and it came past the hour mark. Yeah, exactly. They don't hate you. They hate the fact that your minis are gray. Now, and those are the ways to use your backstory at its maximum. Using your backstory minimally, and this is where everybody in the chat's already talking about, minimal use keeps the focus on present moment play, avoiding lengthy detours. You distill your history to a single sentence. I once was a great street urchin turned mercenary. That's it. That's all you need to know. I was a street urchin. I turned mercenary. Done. Now, while that is good, sometimes that gets frustrating. Because that tells, as a DM, that tells me that you just want to sit here and roll some math rocks. You don't want to be part of the group collective because you didn't think you didn't think of a good backstory. You just, that's it. Now, unless you have a good backstory and you've summarized your backstory for the purposes of keeping your backstory kind of secret for later use, then that would be okay. But if that's all you get, if that's all you have ever throughout the entire game, and we've beaten 5 BBEGs, and we're going for the final we're going to the end boss, and you've only always said I was once a street urchin turned mercenary kind of thing, then that's kind of annoying. Sorry, Kirk. Not even looking at the screen. I'm sorry. You refer to that summary when making in-character choices and ignore deeper details unless the group specifically calls them up. Your mechanical justification. Use backstory purely to explain stats or background features. I have proficiency in thieves' tools because I grew up picking locks. Okay, well, why did you grow up picking locks? I just grew up picking locks. Okay, that's a minimalist aspect. And it takes no narrative play required to do that. You treat it as flavor text for character sheets. That's it. Minimizing your background story is just fluff. In my opinion, it adds nothing to the gameplay. You keep a bullet list of 1 or 2 memories to drop in if asked. Otherwise, you stay in the moment without revisiting your past because you don't have one. Because all you've chosen to do is the minimum stuff you need to do to get by in the game. The best practice is you align with group tones. Gauge how much personal drama the table enjoys. Communicate with your DM. Share only what you're comfortable exploring. You evolve your backstory over time. If you have created a giant backstory and you only do little bits, pieces here and there, that's evolving your backstory over time. That is letting people in. That is breaking the walls down, so to speak. I know every character in campaign is a little different, but does it make sense to say there's an ideal backstory size or at least a certain range that is reasonable? Yes, and that is character level dependent. If you're starting out a level 10 campaign or a campaign with a level 10 character, then you should have a sizable backstory. If you're starting out a campaign as a level 0 or a level 1, and this is something that the Bard and I discussed on our meeting a few weeks ago, a few months ago now. You should still have some sort of backstory. Starting out as a level 1 character or a level 0 character. And here's why. Because at level 0, you're taking your profession, right? That is when you become your profession in rogue, or you're a professional barbarian, or you're a professional fighter at level 0. Okay, and most people start their campaigns out 18, 19, 20, 23, 25. They put an age in down for their character, right? Okay, so what happened between that age and the time that you were born to make you want to go this route? That is your backstory. That is your backstory. Because you don't start out at 1 year old. You're not born into this world as a rogue. You still have to go through school. You still have to go through all your trainings and everything else until you get your rogue profession or your paladin profession. You're not automatically a paladin from birth, right? And this is what bugged me, and Chaz and I had discussed this, right? When you're creating a level 1 character, you start with 0 hit points, right? Except you should still have hit points for like age points for growing up. So why don't you have a racial hit die until you gain your profession and take on your profession's hit die for a level advancement? You should not be so squishy at level 1. There should be some sort of, okay, I've lived 18 years. I have X amount of hit die, or I have X amount of hit points before I even go into my profession. And now I'm adding my profession's hit points to what I've already got. And at the same time, I'm still taking a racial hit die, and everything after a certain age, every age after a certain age, you subtract 1 year or one hit die or one thing from that racial hit die until you're down to just taking on your profession's hit die and foregoing the racial hit die because you're too old to do anything for your racial hit dies. But that's a different topic. That's a different discussion for a later time. But it all falls down to backstory, though. You got 18 years of growing up on the streets before you decided you wanted to become a professional thief. Before you joined the Thieves Guild kind of thing. Where is that all backstory? Puffy Cheeto's a 3-year-old bard who performed on street corners as an infant, very prolific at my age. LOL. Listen, if you're a 3-year-old infant performing on the streets, I can only think of one thing. And it's those freaking somebody help me out here. The monkeys that perform with the clapper things or with the cymbals. They have the guy standing next to him with the box. Do. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's what makes me think of something like that. Puffy Cheeto. Non-adventurers should have more hit points. Up to a point. Exactly. And those are house rules you can add in. Those are definitely house rules that you can add in. Thought you were going to say, I am adventurer. I am Groot? Sure. But, moving forward, shared backstory nexus. Have 2 or more PCs discover a surprising link. Maybe they're siblings at birth or members of rival guilds forced to unite. In-play journaling. Keep a brief log of all your discoveries that tie back to your past because it will come back up, guaranteed. Then present it as an in-arc character letter or diary entry. Not necessarily, but this way if the DM brings up something that, hey, what's this going on here? You want to get in on us, roguey there, guy? Because they've got one of your family heirlooms. I don't know. Read your notes. Oh, crap, they do have one of my family heirlooms. Yeah. It helps you get involved in the story. Align your backstory with the campaign's central theme. Redemption, unearthing ancient secrets, political upheaval. So every character arc feels part of the same tapestry. And then modular threads. Design your history in self-contained modules that can be dropped in or left out without breaking continuity. That's what I was saying. Evolving your character's backstory, giving pieces here and there, dropping it when necessary kind of thing. These approaches will help you ensure that you're prepared to dial your backstory, use it up and down as the game evolves, keeping both your character and the campaign fresh and focused. It's all the role play. This is the part that people love about D&D. It's the role play. With that being said, that is our last question for the evening. And I apparently had hit the number one question, or the number one again, but it's okay. But that was our last question for the evening. However, we are now to our deadly dungeon. That should not have done that. Wait a minute. You know what? We're going to go back to this because it should do this. I had it set up to do that. So we're going to go and try this again. We're going to our deadly dungeon. Boom! That's what it's supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I like to see. And last week, you guys, we decided to start season 2 of Deadly Dungeon, and we started off with a good one. Yes, dear, it was chosen. Don't look at me. I'm not looking at you. The Thieves Guild versus La Cosa Nostra. Now, I am fairly surprised with everybody on this, and this is going to be a long episode tonight, guys. I am fairly surprised at this because my simulation This week's Ultimate Deadliest Warrior Face-Off pits the Shadowy Thieves Guild against the ruthlessly efficient La Cosa Nostra in a straight-up 100 battle simulation. In each duel, both syndicates field their full operatives as a single combatant. The guild relying on stealth, mastery, and subtle sabotage. The Mafia leaning on disciplined firepower and coordinated assaults. Every engagement is fought on urban battlefields, from moonlit rooftops and crumbling tenements to shadow-haunted sewers and opulent VIP caves, or enclaves. On one side, the Thieves Guild moves like a whisper through the night. Their operatives wear lightweight, dark leather armor, carry folding daggers, lock and jam devices, smoke bombs, and vile poisons. They enter through skylights, scale walls with grappling hooks, disable alarms with electronic bypass tools, and play silent garrotes around unsuspecting sentries. Their strength lies in surgical precision. Cut purses, poison wines, sever communications, and vanish before any bullet can fly. But if the clan's operatives are caught in the open or run low on tools, their thin armor and reliance on the shadows leave them vulnerable to a hail of gunfire. Facing them, La Cosa Nostra brings overwhelming force. Armored sedans roar into position under the boss's radio command, carving out kill zones with submachine guns, sniper rifles, and explosive traps. Enforcers in reinforced leather vests hold choke points while bomb specialists rig grenades and C4 charges to detonate on remote triggers. Their credo is brutal and simple. Control the streets with superior firepower and never allow an intruder to reach the inner sanctum. Still, the reliance on open area dominance means that if a silent blade slips past the first line of defense or a poisoned dart finds its mark, the entire network can be thrown into chaos. Now, okay, I had to vote for La Familia, or else my family would renounce me. There are stories in my family about my grandpa and some uncles being in the Sicilian Mafia. True story. Must not cross the family. Yes, Puffy Cheeto. Yeah. The floor is yours, pirate wife, on that one. So, if we're going down to brass tacks here, about who wins, you guys overwhelmingly surprised me. The simulation did not. The simulation did not disappoint. I will tell you guys that right now. The simulation did not disappoint. The decisive factors were on the winning side. The decisive factor was early infiltrator detection, suppressive fire, explosive checkpoint denial. On the losing side, when they won, they had perfect stealth ambushes, poison and sabotage, rapid hit and run extractions. Yes. For all of you out there, my simulation came out to the fact Thieves Guild wins, my simulation, Thieves Guild lost 38% of the time, and La Cosa Nostra won 62% of the time. However, you guys voted, and you guys know that the votes win. The votes went out. So next week, I will have the tallied votes into our bracket. I don't have them in the bracket tonight, but the Thieves Guild in the Discord poll, and you know we always go by the Discord poll because that's what the fans want. The Thieves Guild won out 62% of the time, and La Cosa Nostra hit 38% of the time. They flipped. We have never had it this dead on accurate with the flip, people. Dead on accurate with the flip. So, with that being said, this is what our bracket for the second season looks like, and I will tell you guys. I told you guys we would have a runoff battle between Bender Rodriguez, the bending robot from Futurama, and the deranged god, but I decided against that. And I'll tell you why. Or rather, I will show you why. Because next week, we're getting Ultron versus Brainiac. Right? But this week, our bracket looks like this. The Thieves Guild and Lacore with the Thieves Guild moving forward. Followed by Azathoth and Cthulhu. I decided to put Azathoth and Bender into season 2. Now they're going against quite different things, but Azathoth and Cthulhu are coming from the H.P. Lovecraft series of books. Following that, we have the IRA versus the Taliban. We have Salieri versus Mozart. We have Beethoven versus Chopin. We have Crocodiles versus the Komodo Dragons. Bender Rodriguez versus the Green Ranger. And this is not like the color green and he's a D&D Ranger. No, this is the Green Power Ranger. And finally, we have Ultron versus Brainiac, which we are getting next week. As I showed you guys here, it will be Ultron versus Brainiac. It was supposed to be serial killers versus mass murderers, but I think this is still along the same line as Ultron was a serial killer and Brainiac is a mass murderer. But with that being said, that is our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are through for the evening. Not quite. We still have some good things to talk about for the week. Has anything happened good for the week? I want to start the good things off for the week is that I want to welcome back the Puffy Cheeto for the final time of the night. That was a great thing for the week. Did I spell it wrong? If I spelled it wrong, I'll go in and fix it. That's fine. The Bard was supposed to be here tonight to welcome back the Puffy Cheeto. However, the Bard had prior engagements. He will be watching the VOD later. But he had a D&D consultation, a D&D DM consultation to go to, and other things. He also dropped a new song tonight. I haven't heard about that yet. I haven't heard the song yet, but he dropped a new song. And apparently my wife got her glasses. I had a deep root cleaning of all of my teethuses this week. The right side of my face on Monday, the left side of my face yesterday. They had to... I don't know what the new song is, Kevin. I don't know. I know he was supposed to... So I know that I made a song for Chaz. That I tailored a song for him. And he said, all right, this means you get a song. And that was like 6 months ago. So maybe it's that song. I don't know. I haven't heard it. He just told me he dropped a new song and he won't be at the pod tonight because he's got a DM consultation. But he will watch the VOD later. So we still know that Chaz is still involved in this some way, shape, or form, people. He is still lurking in the darkness. He is the shadow that lurks in the night. He is not Darkwing Duck, but he could be. Get back to a semblance of normal. Yes, absolutely. Get back to a semblance of normal. Now, with my teeth cleaning, my deep root teeth cleaning, now I got to save up the money again to actually get a crown put on one of my molars. So that's going to cost me $678.40. And that's with my insurance, people. It's actually not bad. But yeah, my wife got her glasses. That is awesome. She can see. Don't know why she wants to see. The world is the world is on fire, and she wants to be pinks and purples and rainbows and crap. but the world is on fire. So yeah, Crimson Honda only worked 2 hours this week. That may not be a good thing, unless you only wanted to work 2 hours. Did you get paid for the rest of the hours? Because if you got paid for the rest of the hours, then like beautiful. Good thing for Puffy Cheetah's week. After waiting over a decade, she got her tattoo. Pix into Discord, and she came back to the pod. If Puffy wants to, yeah, I don't want dentures. I had a buddy of mine. I have a buddy of mine who lives down by you. He lives in Waco. Had all of his teeth pulled just so he can get freaking dentures put in because he didn't want to deal with it either. So I am not there. My teeth are good. They're good. They're not great anymore, but age. But yeah, no. If Puffy Cheeto wants to drop what her and I talked about in the Discord, or wants me to drop in the Discord, I will. I had asked Puffy Cheeto about the things that are going on in her in her family, how things are going and everything. So we don't have time for it here. But like I said, if you want to pop it in the Discord, or I'll pop it in the Discord just so we can, because everybody was concerned about you. Everybody was concerned about you, Puffy, and we all miss you, and we're glad you're doing well. And we're also glad that you were not caught up in the Texas flooding incident, though you and I talked about some of that, and yeah, there's still a lot going on out west, guys. Ruidoso, New Mexico just got hit with more flash flooding, so that's still going on. Okay. Drop it in the Discord, Puffy Cheeto. So let's get back to it. Kirk's good thing of the week. Fostered out one cat. Got in another for evaluation. Regular flow from rescue group with work. Okay. So you're taking care of kittens, fostering out the cats. Awesome. Ruby's foot X-ray ultrasound looked fishy, full of calcium. Your type of BC, swollen lymph nodes. Oh no, Eads were acting up. Bump we thought was a lymph node is actually bump on my collarbone. No, not good thing. Good thing of the week for Kevin. He got a new portable AC unit for his apartment, and it's great. It's remote control. It's horrible, but overall I like it. Not used to it. Noises, but it's still way quieter. Kevin, have you thought about getting a split unit? I mean, you can pick up a split unit for like $600, and it literally pops it up there. It's super quiet, remote controlled. Thyroid cancer is spreading. No, Ruby. Oh, Ruby, sorry to hear that. It does suck. Oh. You will have to keep us updated on that, Ruby, because that sucks. Oh. Anyway, with that note, I hate to end it on a sad note. Somebody give something good so we can bring up the mood. Not saying to diminish Ruby's thyroid cancer is spreading, but that's just sad. We don't want to end on a sad note. Kevin doesn't own his apartment, so cannot full install stuff. This is true. I get that, Kevin. I missed that. I missed that one, Puffy. That all your medical issues caused him to start breaking. Yeah. My wife gets to play with one of the grandkids tomorrow. Yay! Woohoo! I don't have to work tomorrow. It's Saturday. That's a good thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for showing up for another episode of Rogue Bard Advice. It has been my pleasure to be your host, Captain Bartholomew Bones McCoy, the Pirate Archaeologist, Chris, Rogue Pirate Archaeologist. Tomorrow's weather looks nicer than it's been here in weeks. I don't think there is rain in the forecast here either. So, but with that, I would like to say, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this stream out, tell your friends about it, get more people involved. The more people we have, the more time, the more questions that can be sent to me. And by all means, remember the email address to send me all questions is roguebardadvice@gmail.com. Kind of looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. And if you look at the last page, we are almost done. I have all the socials listed down on the Stream is Offline page. And I will post that as soon as we're done here. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank everybody. Desktop audio up. There it is. There it is. It's the theme song that I had to turn down. But yeah, no. So thank you for showing up. I will be in the Discord later on this evening, putting up the new poll. And I do want to apologize for last week. I didn't put up the poll until late this week, which was the short week that I think I was talking about. So yeah. With that being said, I will put up the poll in the Discord. Vote for who you think is going to win between Ultron and Brainiac. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Rogue Bard Advice.